BMW Super Tourer? Because this is a car that's had a lot of different looks over the years.
Oh, what a cool thing, hey? You know, Paul Morris rang me yesterday about something else, but it was the car he drove here, I think in '94. In the original logbook, it's the Diet Coke car here. So, but originally it was Johnny Cecotto's car at the World Cup in '93 at Monza. So yeah, it's got a great history. Been to Bathurst and everything. Like, it's just such a fantastic car.
How did you come to get your hands on this car? Because you drove Super Tourers in period with Bob Holden's cars and Brad Jones's Audis, but how did you come to get this one in your hands?
I'd been scouting for a while, and Nigel Barclay in New Zealand, who's quite in touch because in New Zealand there's so many of there. I was there one time for a Michelin activity, and I said, "Have you found me a car yet?" And he goes, "How about this?" And there was a photo of it, and it's a car that had been in New Zealand with Dale Chapman, Dennis and Dale, and they wanted to get out of one, and I just said, "That's me." So I just jumped straight into it. This is a couple of years ago now.
Tell me what these things are like to drive. I mean, they're an early 90s car. The Super Tourer has developed a long way from these cars, but it looks like a pile of fun.
It is just, honestly, it's a hoot. It's busy and like it's a real race car. So it's, you know, it's sharp and you know, it's got good performance. You can make some adjustments. And no, look, it's fantastic. As you know, I had Macaulay down here giving me a bit of a hand. And those young guys, they seem to have more time than me in the corner and all that sort of stuff. I'm pretty busy getting in there and getting it all sorted out. And they just do it, you know, standing on their ear. So but it's good.
The 2-litre Super Touring era pretty much lasted the best part of a decade. The cars got so technical, the budgets were massive, both here and around the world. And you were involved in all that from the perspective of Michelin, an amazing era of racing.
I mean, back in those days, I'm so fortunate to almost entered my Michelin, you know, apprenticeship back in those days. And Super Touring was at the highest level, and we had confidential tyres, and we were bringing different tyres at every round and putting different tyres on the left and the right. And honestly, it was electric. The atmosphere was fantastic. And you know, you talk to Paul Morris and Brad and all those guys that drove on confidential tyres, and they just said it was like bolting on speed. It was incredible. Yes, that was a fantastic time for me to be involved, and I was lucky enough to drive a couple of cars, I think in '98, and it was just, it's amazing.
Tell me about under the hood of this thing. Is this the sort of car that you could pretty much run with you and a couple of mates at an event like the Winton Festival of Speed?
Look, I think the car had a 20-year history in New Zealand, and we've, you know, had to do a bit of work just getting up to speed with it. But now that it's like it is, I think it's relatively cost-effective to run. They're strong. They got a really strong gearbox and everything in them. So I think, my plan is just to have a bit of fun with it here and there, bring it out 2 or 3 times a year. I might send it to Europe and do a little bit of stuff. I don't know. I'll just see. But I think it's a great thing.
2-litre cars now becoming historically eligible in terms of their era. What would you put this car back to? You've kind of got a later body kit with the 93 livery. What's the ultimate spec and livery that you would put this car back to down the track?
Look, I think the spec that it's in is a 95 spec, so the aero package is 95, but I just think that classic BMW factory Warsteiner Fina, you know, with Winkelhock and Soper and Cecotto and, like, you know, their names etched in history with BMW. That's why I want to respect the history of the car from Monza World Cup, but run it just with that little bit of aero on it. Yeah, I think it looks fantastic.
Is there any chance that you would ever put anything other than a Michelin set of tyres on this car?
Well, probably not.